Here's how I made basically the entirety of my first game. So this was the prototype map for it. This game started with a prototype. I was working on another game at first, a shooter, and that was just not going well. And then I was like, ooh, what if I just made a fishing game in like 2 days and I see like if that is like just as a break. And I was like, ooh, I could actually finish this and this would be good if I made it. And the shooter wasn't at all. So then I started to work on this some more. So this was basically just a super basic fishing game that's not broken because this map is like, I reused the scripts and now they're all different and this map isn't set up for that. But then I basically just made a ginormous map, which is this one here. So spoiler for the game, but here we have the enormous map. It all loads at once. There's no LODs. It's kind of janky, but hey, it works. As you can see, it's pretty big, there's little meshes, but it doesn't actually cause any performance issues because it's a PS1 style game, and therefore it's like, it doesn't really matter that there's so many meshes because they're all pretty low res. Then I made some fishing mechanics, like, I mean, I had those from the prototype, but then I made them a little better, and I just proceeded to...
If you want to make games with tons of other cool people and have all the money you make go to charity and learn a whole bunch about game development, go join the Discord in the description. It's super cool there. I'll be in there teaching people like all I know basically, so we can make the game better and better and better. And then hopefully, if all goes well, I'll be able to donate all that money to charity. I mean, I'll do that also if it goes poorly. But if all goes well, a whole bunch of money will go to charity and it'll save a whole bunch of lives and it'll be cool. So if you're interested in that, head over to the description and I'll see you there, I guess. Probably. I mean, there are a lot, so I'll probably see you. Goodbye.
And 100 fish to the game. So here you can see how I did that. So I basically just have a folder with, well, it's more now than 100, but like back in the back in a 1 point or not 0.1 days, so like the early access first release, there was 100 fish, and then I added 16 more fish, I think, maybe 15 more, an amount more. So we have the Ace Minnow here, just a fish from the game. Basically, they're all prefabs, and that's a terrible way of doing things. You should be using scriptable objects or stuff like this. But I used prefabs at the time, and it worked. So just has a whole bunch of data here, and then I added extra scripts when I wanted more data on the fish. I just want to note that all programming in this game is absolutely terrible. Well, it's not terrible, but it's like, it's just good enough not to cause problems. So this isn't something you should be emulating entirely. Like, I messed up a lot of things. This is my first game I actually released on Steam, so it's like, it's a little bit janky, but the game itself is actually pretty smooth. It's a little like rough, but it isn't like buggy. It's just that the code is a little janky. So I'm a lot better now. This is like 2 years ago. So I added continually stuff in early access. So this was an early access game. It spent about 6 months in early access, and I did about weekly updates throughout all of that. Not really weekly, but like the goal was weekly. I usually didn't hit weekly. All right, I guess weekly to try weekly, like 1 week to 3 weeks in between updates. As one of the early features, I added cooking. So cooking is a pretty simple feature. It just like, it adds a little, this is the script here for that. It just adds a description to the fish, and it basically tells you, oh hey, this fish tastes good, or this fish tastes terrible, or this fish, and then it just saves that to your quest book. So this game is just like essentially a collectathon of fishing games. So you have this big open world, and you just try to catch all the fish that are. The game design of it isn't that good, to be honest. Like, I should have really thought more about like how to incentivize people to catch all the fish, which I'm going to be doing in the sequel, which I'm working on. Oh yeah, hey, I'm working a sequel. I guess most people don't know that probably. Anyway, making a sequel to this game. That one is going to be more focused on actually having good game design in it, and being just as jankily coded because I'm reusing most of the code. But my point being, I added cooking. And then I just added a whole bunch of videos. This is from the postmortem thing that I made. So I made basically a video for each feature I added to the game. And these are all those videos. There's a lot of them. You can watch them on my channel. And I did, my point being, I added cooking, then a day-night cycle. That was really well liked. I added a real-time day-night cycle, which was super cool. So basically the time passed in real life, the time passed in the game at the same time. And like you play the game at 9 a.m., it's 9 a.m. in the game. That was really cool. I really like it. And basically, I just added features and features and features. So that wasn't actually the best game design-wise, because it just became like there's farming in the game. A lot of people don't even know that there's farming in the game, but there is, and it's kind of unbalanced and stupid. It doesn't impact the fishing at all. There's just another feature, and that's what I did a lot of this game. It's not a bad game, mind you. I quite like it. But it's mainly fun because fishing in video games is just gambling, and that's just inherently kind of fun. So I added a feature and features and features. The fishing rod code got more and more complex. It's about 600 lines now of just the fishing rod situation. It's not too much. Like it's a manageable amount of code, just about. But I have been scrolling for a while, and there we are at the top. So basically, there's a lot of code. It started off way simpler, but also it was really janky the entire way through. But ignore that. And eventually released into 1.0, where I added rain, I think, and maybe fairy lights. I think that's all I added. There wasn't much in 1.0 because I kind of ran out of stuff to add. I added so many features, none of which were particularly thought out, but they were kind of fun. That's most of this game. It's just like, oh hey, this is a cool feature, huh? Neat. This is in the game, and then you're like, oh, it doesn't really impact anything else, but it's kind of neat, and that's yeah, it's fun, but it's also not as it's not really tightly designed, you could say. But as you can see, the art style is like PS1 style, which is probably why I was able to finish it so quickly. Like it was about 8 months of total dev time, so that helps a lot. By the time it hit 1.0, I was actually pretty happy with the game's core mechanics. They were pretty fun. At the start, they weren't nearly as fun at all, so that's something that took a long time to get right. But I'm quite pleased with how it ended up in the end. Did I just change something there? No, I didn't. Oh, that's good. Then post-release, I added some small features like unit conversions, and I updated graphics a little bit. And then I added multiplayer, which was really well liked, like half a year later, and it was really easy to add. So I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't add that during the early access period, because that would really help, I think. And then in total, till about now, like it's still making a little bit of money, but not much. About $100 gross a month, so not a lot. I have a revenue breakdown video on that on the channel probably. So essentially, it made me about. Go check out that video actually. No, I'm not gonna YouTuber you. Made about $4,000, 4 or 5 grand, 6 grand, so somewhere around that range. I forgot the exact numbers. It's like depends on which number you're looking at as well. But it made an amount of money. It wasn't a lot, and I don't get all of that money. I get like 50% ish of that, 50 to 60% of that money I actually get. Mind you, that's not the Steam cut. That's just like what ends up in my bank account. There's more things that get reduced from that number. So I made the game for about 3-ish hours a day, 2 to 3 hours a day of work. I did it by living at home with my parents, and I couldn't work much for various reasons. And it was a great Kickstarter. I learned a lot from it. It was mainly a learning game and learning experience, not really a making money experience, because like some people might think, oh, but like a couple grand, that's like really nice. But like it's over 8 months. That's not a lot to live off of. I now do make enough to live off of just about. Ooh, I just moved my camera. I'm sorry. But basically, didn't make me a lot of money. Learned a lot. Happy I did early access because I ended up learning a lot from that and actually released it very quickly before it was really done. And that helped a lot with actually putting out a game and getting feedback and stuff. And like that's a lot of motivation. And you're like, oh hey, I can make money off of this. You know, that really helps. It's also kind of a shame I did that because it didn't do as well sales wise. I talk more about that in the sales discussion video. And that's basically the timeline of this entire project. If you want to help out with further projects for charity, I'm now making games for charity entirely. I still need some money for myself, so I'm still making some games for my money, but I'm also making charity games for everyone's money, or not everyone's money, for like charity money, which I'm not making anything off of. I'm actually losing money on those because I'm paying for the Steam fees for like the Steam Direct fee, which is an amount. I don't know if I can say that. So basically, I'm paying for that. So I'm actually losing money on that game, or on those games. So currently we work on Ice Spot Keeping Simulator. If you want to work on a game with an actual game developer for charity, would be really cool. And if that's cool to you, then join the Discord down below. And that was this video. If you enjoyed, hope you learned.